This debate will come to order. The resolution before us today is we should explore the universe. Representing the proposition are its first speaker Emma, the second speaker Grace, the third speaker Cindy, and its fourth speaker Thomas. Representing the opposition are its first speaker Stella, the second speaker Ian, its third speaker Jason, and its fourth speaker Esther. On behalf of the House, I would like to express a sincere welcome to our judges, Simona, Alicia, and Colleen. And I, Sophia, am your moderator. Each speaker will deliver a 5-minute constructive speech. The second, third, and the fourth speaker of each team will also get a 3 to 4 minute reply speech. After each speech, I'll immediately call upon next debater to begin his or her address. I call upon the first speaker to introduce the proposition for 5 minutes. Emma.
The universe we live in is enormous. We are just a tiny speck amongst billions of planets and suns. We are only beginning and understand what is out there with the help of the telescope and some space travel. However, there is
I thank the member for her remarks. We shall now hear the first speaker of opposition, Stella.
These competitions can worsen relationships between countries and can create bigger problems. Some countries have been competing to prove their political power with explorations into space. For example, the USA and USSR competed
I thank the member for her remarks. I now call upon the second speaker of the opposition for the rebuttal, Ian.
Honorable moderator, honorable judges, worthy opponents, ladies and gentlemen. The proposition before you today is that people should explore. The universe is a massive place that we do not know everything about it. People are leaving Earth and travel to the universe just because they are interested of it. People might think it is interesting and fun, but I don't think so. To begin, the proposition assumes that communication is improved on Earth.
I thank the member for his remarks. I now call upon the second speaker of the proposition for the rebuttal, Grace.
First of all, the opposition states that space exploration is causing bad relations between countries. However, this is simply not always true. Space exploration could encourage cooperation between countries.
I thank the member for her remarks. We will now hear a 4-minute answer period each team, starting with the opposition. I call upon the third member of the opposition for the question period, Jason. The first question is, if we don't go exploring space, how else would we know if there are other civilizations out there?
The closest planet from Earth, Mars, is too far away for us, and that it is impossible to return from in a spaceship. It makes more sense to use telescopes to explore. They are less expensive, and they're very effective at observing the universe.
I thank the member for his reply. I call upon the third member of the proposition, Cindy. The second question is, how can you expect that there is one more Earth-like planet to live on?
Considering all the billions of planets in outer space, even if it is a little different from Earth, as long as we can breathe, find food to eat, and find shelter, it is a livable planet. It might not exactly look like
I thank the member for her reply, and I call upon the fourth member of the opposition for the question period, Esther. Don't you think all the money you spent on exploring will be worth it in the future?
The proposition asked, don't you think all the money you spend on exploring space will be worth it in the future? In response to your question, the opposition believes that exploring space will not be worth it in the future. We think that we should use that money for saving Earth and exploring places that are not yet found.
I thank the member for her reply, and I call upon the fourth member of the proposition. The second question is, what if they're in space and they lose their connection? Thomas.
The opposition asked the question, what if there's a person in space and they lose their connection? According to the Goddard Space Flight Center, there are 2,271 satellites currently in outer space. Satellites help us communicate. So, If you totally lose your connection, that means all the satellites suddenly stop.
I thank the member for concluding the debate. Would the judges please complete their ballot? After doing so, you're invited to make constructive comments, but I would like to remind you that you're not to indicate which team has won the debate. Thank you.
This debate will come to order. The resolution before us today is the legal driving age should be raised to 18. Presenting the proposition are its first speaker, Eddie, Robin, and his second speaker, Eddie, and his third speaker, Catherine. Representing the opposition are its first speaker, Brendan, the second speaker, Justin Jung, and its third speaker, Kelly. On behalf of the House, I'd like to express a sincere welcome to our judges, Simona, Alicia, and Colleen, and I, Justin Kim, I'm your moderator. Each speaker will deliver a 5-minute constructive speech. The second and the third speaker of each team will also get a 4-minute reply speech. After each speech, I'll immediately call upon the next debater to begin his or her address. I call upon the first speaker to introduce the proposition case for 5 minutes. Robin.
I represent the affirmative team, and the resolution introduced before you today is the driving age should be raised. Another way to define driving is the control and operation of a motor vehicle. This is a term now used to broadly describe...
I thank the member for his remarks. We shall now hear the first speaker for the opposition, Brendan.
Therefore, we shouldn't raise the driving age. For instance, many places, such as in rural areas, public transportation doesn't exist. If students under the age of 18 don't have cars, they can't go anywhere without interfering with their parents' work schedule in order to drive them to school or other places. It would be very convenient if young people would have their own cars to drive themselves
I thank the member for his remarks. I now call upon the second speaker of the opposition for the rebuttal, Justin Jung.
If we raise the age to 18, there still will be crashes caused by young people. Furthermore, according to census.gov, fatal accidents by 16 years old was 1% and by 18 years old was 2.5%. The prospects of getting injured from drunk driving is 1 out of 5.
I thank the member for his remarks. I now call upon the second speaker of the proposition for the rebuttal, Eddie.
Good evening, Mr. Moderator, honorable judges, worthy opponents, ladies and gentlemen. I present the affirmative team. My worthy opponent said that driving recklessly and causing accidents has nothing to do with the age of the... That means we are killing innocent teenagers who could have the potential to develop our future. Countries such as Egypt, South Africa, Mexico, South Korea, and others have the law that restrict the legal driving age to 18.
I thank the member for his remarks. We will now hear a 4-minute answer period from each team, starting with the opposition. I call upon the third member of the opposition for the question period. The first question is, there are 30,000 people who died in USA alone between 1995 and 2004, and this means that many more will die in the future. How are we going to ensure that teenagers are not going to die in the car accidents if we don't make changes to the age that they're allowed to drive at? Here's the second question. Teens are not allowed to vote or drink until they're over 19 or 21, but yet in some states, teens as young 16 or under can be behind the wheel. Why are the teens allowed to drive at such a young and inexperienced age? Kelly.
This says that there are 30,000 people who died in USA alone between 1995 and 2004. And this means many more will die in the future. How are we going to ensure that teenagers are not going to die in the car accident if we don't make a changes of the age that we are allowed to?
I thank the member for her reply, and I call upon the third member of the proposition for the question period. First question is, how can it be guaranteed that the schools of more mature people are safe? Here's the second question. Many young students rely on the cars to get to school. How can the driving age resolve the problem of teens from removed areas access to school? Catherine.
Instead of going from home to school every day and driving themselves to go back, at holidays times, the parents will pick up their children and drive them home safely. Therefore, teenagers are young be on the road, and driving age can safely be raised without affecting.
I thank the member for concluding the debate. Would the judges please complete your ballot? After doing so, you're invited to make constructive comments, but I'd like to remind you that you're not to indicate which team has won the debate. Thank you.
This debate will come to order. The resolution before us today is people should not keep pets. Representing the proposition are the first speaker, Angela, the second speaker, Jamie, and the third speaker, Jason. Representing opposition are first speaker, James, the second speaker, Andrew, and the third speaker, Jane. On behalf of the House, I would like to express sincere welcome to our judges, Simona, Alicia, and Colleen, and I, Edward, am your moderator. Each speaker will deliver a 5-minute constructive speech. The second and the third speaker will also get a 3-minute reply speech. After each speech, I'll immediately call upon the next speaker to begin his or her address. I call upon the first speaker to introduce the proposition case for 5 minutes. Angela Shin.
The resolution before us today is people should not keep pets. The definition of a pet is any domesticated or tamed animal that is kept as a companion and cared affectionately. We, the proposition, strongly believe.
I thank the member for her remarks. We shall now hear the first speaker of the opposition, James Beck.
Today, as first speaker of the opposition, I would like you to know that we strongly disagree with the idea that humans should not be allowed to keep pets. We absolutely believe that humans should be allowed to keep pets. According to the dictionary, a pet is an animal.
I thank the member for his remarks. I now call upon the second speaker of the opposition for the rebuttal, Andrew Bang.
In the wild, these animals would not stand a chance. In our homes, however, these pets are cared for, protected, and loved. We keep pets because we love them. And because we care about
I thank the member for his remarks. I now call upon the second speaker of the proposition for the rebuttal.
If we bring animals home to keep as a pet, they will die easily. It is mainly because the environment around the animals changes all of a sudden, or it is maybe because they don't get a right place to live or right food to eat. Most pets, especially cats, are perfectly capable of surviving.
I thank the member for her remarks. We will now hear a 4-minute answer period from each team, starting with the opposition. First question is, pets upset allergies. We poop everywhere, bark at night, and can smell awful. Don't you think pets are more helpful than harmful? And the second question is, how do you feel about people who abuse their animal? I call upon the third member of the opposition for the question period, Jane Kim.
If you have allergies and still want a pet, choose one that won't cause you to have an allergic reaction. Moreover, when you walk with your pet, pick up the poop and put into the plastic
I thank
bag.
the member for her reply. And I call upon the third member of the proposition for the question period. First question is, animal helps humans every day. Seeing eye dogs, therapy dogs, and horses and other animals protect us. How would these people stay safe? And the second question is, caring for pets teaches children responsibility and compassion. How else will children learn those skills? I call upon the third member of the proposition for the question period, Jason Park.
Why would you want an animal to take care of people that you love? For example, animals can harm people by scratching, biting, or kicking. We can receive many injuries from animals. As Angela mentioned in her opening comments, almost 400,000...
I thank the member for concluding the debate. Would the judges please complete your ballot? After doing so, you're invited to make constructive comments, but I would like to remind you that you're not to indicate which team has won the debate. Thank you.